Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. It's Geekonomics. We're back after a little holiday break. Marc and Bryon here to talk to you about all things going on. We went and saw Indiana Jones, not together. We went with our significant others to see it. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about all the stuff we've been doing and what we did over the holidays. And unfortunately, we're going to start the show off with some sad news. I'll let you go, Bryon, and you could start off with our sad news.
Okay. Well, the passing of, I think a very talented artist, local artist, Jim Taylor, had passed away. We were very lucky, and I mean that in every sense of the word. We actually were, when we first started doing the East of the River shows, when we were at the Golden Gavel, our table was right next to his. So I met Jim Taylor around the first time we started doing the shows for Scott Pellin at the Golden Gavel. And he had some awesome Batman artwork. And I own some of his awesome Batman artwork that hangs in my room upstairs, which I am currently working on my Bat Cave. I got more shelving. And I do want to frame his artwork and have that displayed in that corner, my Bat Cave, I call it. Now, Jim Taylor, I know he had some health issues. I don't know his personal life. He was always super nice to me. We always discuss movies, the love of Batman. We actually were lucky enough to have him on the podcast. He came into the studio. He had some really interesting stories about being a local comic artist, the people he met. If I can dig that episode up, I will definitely repost it.
Because we also did, I know we did a couple of video interviews with him too.
Yeah, I might
at the Golden Gavel.
We might have, but I know he was in the studio. So anyway, I might repost that episode during the week. I'm gonna dig it up maybe after we report today, and do a repost. I think it's a fantastic interview, a conversation, I would say, not interview. But recently, so I always post the shows we're doing, and he reached out to me. And he's like, "Hey, when's this show?" And we were talking on Facebook. And the show in February, he's like, "I haven't been out in a while." He actually came down and he was talking to Guy and Mario, because they're both, all three of them are artists, and they're talking about art. And I was like, "Wow, Jim Taylor!" I was like, "Come on down, come, get out." He usually do a lot of the free comic book day shows.
He was always a constant at the
Most Excellent Comics.
I think at Mason's place. He was always there.
So he, like I said, I don't know his personal health. I didn't know any of that. I just know him through, just like, I don't know his personal life. But anyway,
he was older too. He wasn't a young guy. He was in his he was an older gentleman.
But anyway, he'll definitely be missed. I think he was, like I said, he was always super nice to me. I think he had some fantastic stories. I think, as someone, as us who's been doing this podcast for a long time, I think, I would say I'm very happy. I think we're very blessed to have had him on the show to preserve some of those stories. So I think that's
he worked on like the Herculoids. He worked on Space Ghost.
He had a crazy
on
career.
Like a lot of DC stuff. Like a lot of he was a cover artist, so a lot of like comic book covers that you probably have seen multiple times or have in your collection. He probably did the art for those comic books. So it was crazy. It was always like a weird thing. Like the first time we met him at, like you were talking about, at Scott's show, we were right next to him, and I just thought it was just, there's always artists. There's all these guys at these different shows that we go to, and like they just either had drawn like one thing, and like we're basically living off that forever. But he was actually like a guy who did multiple Batman covers and multiple other things. And just that first day of him just like talking to us about like drawing Batman for the first time and seeing his stuff like at the comic book stand, it was crazy. And it was just like interesting. And he was always like that interesting guy that you would see randomly at shows. He would always pop up at random shows, and he was always super nice to us and was always like, would
Very
actually
funny.
remember us. He was like the first guy that I remember that remembered us when he saw us the second time.
Yeah.
And that was cool. It was cool. It was like, oh, hey, someone actually realizes knows who we are.
Yeah.
Like,
He had
yeah.
a good sense of humor. He
Yeah.
was making jokes. He always was laughing, smile on his face. So
Yeah.
you know, we will miss you, Jim Taylor. Rest in peace. And I have to say, it was an honor to know you. And you
Yeah.
know, I think with our show and his artwork, he will live on.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
is great. Which is cool.
Yeah.
Now we have to transition on to something else.
Yes. On to the rest of the show.
On
On to the goofiness.
So before we get on to everything else we're going to talk about, we have a packed show today.
We do.
We want to say in 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, July 23rd, Manchester Toy Convention, Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Admissions $5 to get in. Kids under 10 are free at the Army Navy Club, 1090 Main Street, Manchester, Connecticut.
Yes.
You're gonna have comics, a lot of retro toys, collectibles. Also, it's gonna be an adult and kid cosplay contest, and
Correct.
I believe it's cash prize. So, and this cosplay contest has increasingly gotten bigger, more popular,
Yeah.
and harder to win.
Yeah.
I think the show we had back in February, which is weird because the show we had back in February, I remember it was warm out. I remember it wasn't even that cold out that show we did. Or no, was it? Yeah, it was February.
Yeah. It was actually warm.
It was warm.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was the people who did cosplay that show were top of their game. So if you're gonna come in and you want to do cosplay, man, be prepared. No one's fooling around anymore. This is really good stuff. So come prepared, bring your A game if you want to win. Also, our friend Matt Sylvester, who was at the Enfield show, his daughter is really into anime, and I believe she will be in the kids cosplay contest, which is really cool.
You have a friend Pete who dresses his kids all dress up, and he comes as Mando. It's a very good Mando costume.
Yeah, it really is. So yeah, we got less than 2 weeks, folks. This is going to be a good show. I kid you not. If you've never been to the show, come early and be prepared to wait outside. The last show, it was 30 people. The line wrapped around the building. I kid you not. So either come super early, get in line, or maybe come mid-afternoon when the line has gone down, but it's going to be packed. It's well AC'd, so it'll be nice and cool inside if it's a hot day. Also, I have to say, you can have a whole afternoon here. The strip, the main street it's on, you got places for lunch, breakfast, cool coffee shops. There's other places to go shopping. So you can make a whole afternoon out of it. It's a really great part of the area. It's all walking distance. You can walk everywhere.
And it's also Manchester, so you have like the big mall in town.
But that's a long walk if you're gonna go.
Yeah, but you could drive over there. I'm assuming you're gonna drive there to the event.
No,
but afterwards,
no,
I'm saying
you don't want to go to corporate America. You want to keep it local. You want to keep it mom and pop shops, Mark. This is mom.
I'm saying it's Manchester. There's plenty of local mom and pop places besides
right on the strip. There's plenty
yes.
of mom and pop places.
Yes.
Go spend your money to mom and pop. They need the money.
Yes.
Who cares about the Best Buys and the Targets?
Well, not Best Buys. I'm talking about like other stuff. There's other shops in Manchester.
No. You stay in the strip.
You get like
You spend
Heroes
all your
Legacy
money.
right in town.
No. You spend all your money right here, right at
Yeah.
this convention.
Well,
And
I'm
then
saying
you
there's a
go
local comic shop that's at the show that you can go to as well. I'm saying
Yes.
Heroes Legacy is not far from the.
Then you can go to the pizza place. You can get the breakfast place. There's a cool coffee shop which I love to go to every time.
Yeah.
Fantastic iced coffee. My favorite iced coffee is in Manchester.
Good to know.
Yes. So I'm very excited.
You guys all do the mom and pops. I'll be at the corporate places waving to you.
Starbucks.
Buying things for cheaper.
What are you talking about? There's no such thing. You name me a corporate place that's cheap, because I don't believe that one for a minute. You know how much a coffee is at Dunkin' Donuts?
I don't drink coffee, so I don't know, and I don't care.
It is like
it's bad for you. You shouldn't be drinking so much coffee.
$2.50. Coffee's not bad.
Make it at home for free.
Yeah, I do. I make it every morning for free.
There you go. But you buy the Dunkin' like grounds to make it. You know,
Dunkin' coffee sucks.
You don't do it anymore? I used to buy like the bags of Dunkin' coffee.
No.
Or the Keurig things.
I don't have a Keurig.
No.
And I don't. No, Dunkin' coffee is not my favorite. There's so many better choices out there.
Wow.
If I get Dunkin',
how times have changed.
If I get Dunkin', I get a small iced coffee with a shot of a flavor in it to kind of to hide the flavor, because their coffee has gone down in quality, but the price has gone way up.
That's usually how it works.
Yeah. But there are some great mom and pop places that have 100% better iced coffee. And I make my coffee every morning at home. And I have my places that I like. I buy coffee from. But yeah, I don't hate Dunkin' totally. Like I enjoy their iced coffees when I'm out.
You used to live off it, so I mean.
Yes, but it's weird because I have either my palate has changed, but a lot of people have said this, so it's maybe not my palate, but I think a lot of people have all kind of been like, their coffee, it's become bitter. It's very bitter. It's very acidic. I don't like bitter acidic coffee.
Got it.
So it used to be really good. Now it's just mass produced acidic bitter coffee.
Yeah.
I don't know. Times change.
It all tastes like dirty water to me. So.
Oh, there you go.
Dirt water.
So, anywho.
Anyways.
Spend the day in Manchester, July.
I'll see you next Sunday. Next Sunday.
At the mall. Where Mark wants you to be at the mall.
No, I'll be at the show.
Are you going to be there?
Yeah. I plan on being there.
All right. Okay, Marcus. We had the 4th of July weekend off.
We did.
We
had the celebration weekend off.
Yes. So I'll let you go first. How was your 2 weeks? You watch anything, do anything?
I did. I finished. What was I watching? Oh my gosh, it's been so long. I finished something, and I was going to talk about it, and now I just blanked on it. It'll come back to me. Yeah. So we just did the holiday weekend. We basically just chilled out, relaxed. Spent one of the days over at my sister-in-law's house. She has a pool, so spent a pool day.
The weather was like today.
That's Saturday. We had like the best. It was the best day of the whole weekend.
Right, it really was. That weekend sucked.
Oh, I remember what it was now. I watched Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Oh yeah, how was it?
Off a Rocky suggestion. It was good. I didn't know until I started getting into it that it was the same folks who had done Gilmore Girls, which was a show that I watched years ago when I had a broken leg.
Wow.
So it's the same executive producer and writers. So it's the same writing.
Yeah, I know. It's Palladino, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's the same writing style. So it's that fast writing. And just like Tony Shalhoub is amazing. Well, I mean, whatever. But Tony Shalhoub,
I want to see
Gilmore Girls. It's a little bit more raunchier than.
I hope it's better than Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Tony Shalhoub's amazing. Kevin Pollak's amazing. Everyone in it's amazing. The guy who they cast to play Lenny Bruce is fantastic.
Mm.
But yeah, the show is just great. And it's got a lot of like great cameo people in it and stuff like that. And there's some, Gilmore Girl people that were in Gilmore Girls that show up in it. But yeah, it was a great show. It's only 4 seasons.
Yeah, didn't they end
So
it?
it goes through pretty quick. Yeah, it just ended like a couple months ago. I think end of May.
It's on our short list. I know it's a show that Allison and me. It's on our short list to get into.
Yeah. Rocky suggested that Claire would be into it, so I told her I'd watched a couple episodes. I watched a couple episodes. I'm like, you wouldn't like this. She's like, why? She's like, I'm like, it's just not your writing. You wouldn't like the way it's written and how it's like the style of it. So, and she watched an episode and she's like, yes, I do not like this. So good call on your part. So I just blew through it because I've been home because I've been paving my parking lot at work for the past month. So
you're paving it?
Me personally is paving.
That's
I'm
what
repaving
you
the
said.
parking lot.
I'm paving. No.
I said I've been at home because they've been.
So they're still paving? Is it because of the rain, right? It's because of all
the rain and the heat has caused delays. So it's now officially, as of yesterday, I was able to go in and it's completely paved. It's still not lined yet, but it's completely paved and done.
Mm-hmm.
So you can drive on it without any issues as of yesterday.
Wow.
So yeah. So it's been a long, drawn out experience to get that taken care of.
Well, be happy you get to work from home. So
yeah. So but yeah, besides that, I did that. Then just watching that, and I just started because I started listening to Smartless after watching the documentary on HBO Max or Max, whatever it's called now. I'm listening to the actual podcast while I'm at the gym. So then they talk about Arrested Development a lot, and it's a show I never actually watched.
Oh,
so
have you started it?
I started watching it, yeah. So I'm halfway through the first season.
Do not watch the Netflix stuff. It is horrible. Absolutely trash.
Yeah.
Well, Allison and me, we watched Arrested Development season 1, 2, and 3, which are amazing.
Yeah.
Allison's seen those a million times. I've seen them a million times. During COVID, I was like, hey, let's do Arrested Development rewatch because I don't think I've ever seen the Netflix stuff. But let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So we started from the beginning, and because a lot of stuff I forgot. It's been a long time. So we get to the Netflix stuff, and we're both excited. We're like, we've never seen the Netflix stuff.
Yeah.
We stopped halfway through. It is absolutely the worst trash you will ever. It is unbearable how bad it is, and it's
kind of a la like when Scrubs jumped to ABC.
No,
that weird season at the school, whatever.
No, it's not even like that. Like that's different because they were trying to continue a show that came to a great conclusion, and it just wasn't a good idea. This was Netflix. This is back in the day when Netflix was grabbing things and actually becoming very popular. And they're like, oh, we're going to bring back Arrested Development. A lot of people were excited. The writing, the cast, everybody came back. Well, that first season, it was like very disconjointed. And I guess a lot of people were doing their scenes in green screen and they were like pasting everything in. And it never had that flow
like the old one did.
The old one. Then people complained about how the structures of the episodes were. So then Netflix, they came back in and they re-edit all the episodes. And then it got even worse. So we were trying to watch it. And for example, the first episode plays, you're like, okay, this is okay. You get to the second episode, they would spend almost 5 to 8 minutes recapping the episode you just watched. And then by the time they're done recapping, and it was so narration heavy. It was Ron Howard basically narrating,
just talking the whole thing.
Oh my God. I think we got 4 episodes in, and I was like, I can't do this. This show sucks now. So we stopped. I don't even. You could go for it, make up your own opinion. My opinion is it does not exist beyond season 3. Season 1, 2, and 3 are amazing.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Sometimes it just doesn't work after you do it the first time.
Yeah. Like I said, listen.
Some things you shouldn't revisit. You get there's a spark, and then the spark turns out and you can't re-spark it again.
Listen. A lot of people who are fans
kind of like Community when it jumped to like, was it on like YouTube or something?
No, that was actually
like a final season.
Well, no, Community did its final season on Yahoo TV.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I like that season. It was not a bad season at all.
It just wasn't as good as the original ones.
And the final season of Community, Dan Harmon was back. It was, I mean, it didn't have Chevy, but he died. But like,
no Donald Glover.
No Donald Glover. But I mean, listen, I can't compare the two. I much rewatch the final season Community like 100 times over than ever even go through. Yeah. But make up your own mind. See what you think. It's horribly edited, and it's just the cast wasn't all together. So it's like that cast is a great chemistry, and they're all bouncing off each other,
playing off each other, kind of thing. And if you don't have that, it kind of loses its.
You're green screening people in, and it just feels like they're recycling plot points and heavily narrated by Ron Howard. And you're like, I don't want to hear Ron Howard narrate the entire show. He was great. What they did, but then you're like, and it's like almost 8 minutes of recapping what you just watched. And I'm like, I don't need a recap of what I just watched. I just watched that.
Especially on like a Netflix show where you know you're watching them back to back to back.
Right.
Like a weekly thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Give me a recap because it's weekly. But I don't need an 8-minute recap.
Yeah.
Of what
like even on Secret Invasion, it's like I don't need the recap. I just like watch that.
But anyway, watch through it. It's an amazing show. Check out the Netflix stuff. Maybe you'll like it more than me. I did not like it. I did not have the tolerance to go through it. So, and a lot of the fans don't. A lot of the big hardcore
I'll
fans.
let you know. I'm on the first season I think roughly about 10 episodes into the first season.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
So
great stuff.
Yeah.
Fantastic show.
Yeah.
Some great cameos. Some fun
it's
stuff.
Crazy to like, I didn't know this until I started listening to Smartless, because just like I'd seen bits and pieces of Arrested Development, not like the whole show, but I saw like episodes here and there. And like the chemistry between Will Arnett and Justin Bateman, you kind of assume that they had known each other forever, and that like they play with each other so well.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to Smartless they had never really met each other until they did that show. And it was like, wow. And then like that show, basically they became best friends.
Magic.
Like inseparable best friends at this point. So it's kind of funny.
The magic.
And that's a great podcast. I know it's like something people don't like, that you talk about other podcasts on your podcast, but if you are looking for something else to listen to besides us, it's just Smartless. It's really good.
I have to add it to my list.
Yeah, you would enjoy it. It's very good.
Yeah, I probably will. But yeah, Job.
It's the first one I've listened to, so.
Which is amazing.
I'm usually not a big fan of just listening. Like it's like one of those things. It's like you probably, I don't know if you experience this, but it's like I don't like, if you're not working the comic show for your booth, you don't just go to other comic shows. It's like the other kind of thing. It's like I don't want to I don't like I work at the public access studio. I don't want to like on my off time go work on someone else's public access show, or work at someone else's studio. It's like I want to be separate from it. I don't want to like.
Yeah, but
I'm weird like that.
Podcast is entertainment. It's just another form.
I'm weird like that. Like I used to be like when I worked at Stafford and did the races. I've found I would watch less racing on TV because I'd be doing it on Friday nights, and I don't want to think about racing when I'm not at the racetrack. I want to distance myself from it. Like when I was working at the Wolfpack, I found myself not watching as much hockey on TV because I didn't want to, it's a weird thing I have. I don't know why. It's just one of those weird things I have.
Well, to each his own.
Yeah.
That's all I listen to. I listen to podcasts on my drive, on my walks, and I listen to music when I'm at home because I like to have music on where I don't have to pay attention. But if I'm on a walk, nice long walk, podcast, like car ride, podcast. If I'm at work alone, podcast.
Speaking of music, during that time since last time we were here, I think since last time we did the show, we recorded the second episode of Equilibrium TV with Audio Jane. And
you did?
There. Yeah, on the 19th, the 28th. Yes, the 28th.
Oh, so this week isn't happening. Weren't you originally doing a show this week?
No, the 19th of July. You and calendars need to get together on something because you're terrible at it.
No, originally you had told me. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just saying originally you said the 12th. You said the 12th and the 19th where you're going to be doing those two shows. I have it in my calendar. Cox, 6 p.m. band show, 12th and the 19th. The 28th you had moved.
It was the 12th or the 19th. I was at the time. I wasn't sure what Wednesday that band for this month was going to be. It's the 19th.
Okay. And then you said the 28th was canceled because of the paving of the...
It was going to be, but then I talked to the band and they couldn't move again. So for their schedule.
See?
So
see, there you go. That's why.
That's what it was.
I'm all befuddled.
Yeah. So we did theirs on the 28th. Audio Jane. They were really good.
You got to send it to me.
I'm going to. I just finished it the other day. So calm down.
Oh, come on.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, it debuts tonight on the channel. So I'll send you that link to download that. So check them out, Audio Jane. They're really good. They play all over the place around Connecticut and in New England. And we booked the band for this coming month's show. Somewhat Woke is the name of the band. And they'll be in to do the episode for this month. So yeah, it's going pretty good. We got some stuff coming up that we're going to be doing. We're going to stock up on some new microphones for the studio and everything to jazz up the sound to make it sound better than it does now. But yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, then it's good to know that tomorrow's not happening.
Yes, tomorrow's not happening. The 19th, next Wednesday.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. Everyone's asking about where you are every time we do one. I just said it conflicts with your schedules.
Nobody told me the 28th was happening.
Well, yeah.
The last we talked, it was going to be this Wednesday and next Wednesday. That was your plan.
Okay.
I had it in my calendar.
I can't remember every person I talked to about it.
There you go. I'm not blaming you. I'm just telling you what I remember our conversation being. That's all.
Okay.
Well, just add me to the call sheet. Don't you have a call sheet for the crew?
Jill handles the crew, so I haven't been. She organizes everybody for me. So
all right. Well then.
But yeah,
let her know.
The 19th is a go.
Okay.
Somewhat Woke will be the band.
Okay. Sounds good.
They're really good. They're like a ska. They have like a horn and everything. They're pretty cool.
Oh, well then I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, anything else, Marcus?
No, that's about it. Just watching that. And I went to the Town Green celebration on Saturday. Worked a booth for the Safe Harbor organization that I am on the board for in town for the homeless. They had a booth in one of the community booths.
What time were you there?
On Saturday between 1 and 3-ish. Like noon and 3.
We were there around. We got there by 1. We got food and we walked around that area, the crafting.
We were in the front of we were right in front of the town hall, like up towards the lawn side.
We walked right by that.
I might not have been at the booth when you walked by. I was warming around.
there was nothing to do.
Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah.
The craft fair was lacking Saturday. I don't know if there was more on Sunday.
It really wasn't a craft fair. It was very strange. It was a very strange event. Like Red 5 was there. I'm like, why is Red 5 here?
What's Red 5?
The Star Wars store in East Long Meadow. They had a booth in the craft part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're selling pops, I think.
Yeah, I'm like, you're not a craft place. What are you doing here?
Yeah, a lot of
it was very strange. Yeah.
We
like a CBD place.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah. It was very strange. There was like a henna tattoo truck. There's a lot of weirdness going on.
It was a smorgasbord of weirdness. Like,
yeah, and then like the middle part, like right next to the sponsors area, was like a tiny home show kind of thing. Like,
but they do that every year. They have
all that stuff was there.
They have that every year because a lot of sponsors.
Just kind of weird. Yeah, like weird little things.
The food selection was very small compared to other.
Yeah, they had like 6 to 7 booths.
And very expensive.
Yes. Yeah, like a pulled pork sandwich and tater tots was like 18 tokens. I was like, what?
Yes. I know.
So, yeah.
And the weirdest thing, what's American than hamburgers, hot dogs, and fries? Nobody had that. And I think that would have been, or fried dough.
Don't bring that up. People get very aggravated when you bring that stuff up.
Why?
I've seen the Facebook comment threads. People get very aggravated.
I know.
You want change? Volunteer.
You know what I have to say to that? We're allowed to bitch about it. We were allowed to complain about it if we want to complain about it. I went. Listen, I used to be a volunteer when I was a teenager. I volunteered there year after year.
We used to film it.
Yeah.
For the town. For the public access.
I supported it. I still support it. I went this year. I gave my hard-earned money. I got some food. It was good.
Yeah.
I saw the free entertainment. We went shopping. But as a town resident, I was still allowed to say that's a weird choice. Come on.
It was also for Sunday afternoon, even with like the rain situations and such. It didn't seem
very
that busy.
No.
Like I got there for noontime. I parked at the mall, took the shuttle bus over, and around noontime, I was the only person on the shuttle bus. And the bus driver said she'd been sitting there for like 15 minutes and no one had shown up to take the ride over.
You could still park pretty close. We parked at Bank of America and walked.
I know, but I just didn't want to like deal with finding a spot or somewhere. And it's just right there.
It wasn't. I mean, we went at 1:00. It wasn't that busy. I don't know what the.
Well, because when I went, like when I was heading there, I figured noontime when we used to do it for.
It was packed.
Public access. Like you couldn't even get close to the place at noontime.
Yeah.
That's why I parked. I told Claire, I'm like, I'm going to park at the mall instead of taking a chance at finding something close and then not being able to. Then every person I talked to was like, oh yeah, I park like across the street. I parked next door. I parked and I had no problems finding somewhere to park. I'm like,
no, we didn't.
Well, there you go. That's always that's never a good sign when you have plenty of places to park.
But nearby. It was hot and humid. It was a very hot and humid weekend. And I'm sure people went later in the evening because the bands were better at night and the fireworks were on Sunday night. So we can't just assume it was, I mean, sure it got better at the night, but it was hot and humid. And I got two complaints, and I don't care what anybody says. Burgers, hot dogs, and fried dough. Come on. And back in the day, they would have 7 or 8 picnic tables. They had 2.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. You have all these vendors and
they had pink tables like over next to the sponsors area. They had some more pink tables in there. They had like 4 pink tables over there.
But it should
be right behind our tables. They had like 4 picnic tables right behind us.
It should be all near the food.
Yeah.
Because everybody had no place to sit.
Yeah.
Yeah. My biggest complaint, more picnic tables.
Yeah.
And food was awesome. I had a pulled pork macaroni bowl, which was really great.
Yeah. I went to the other barbecue place at the end there, the rolling barbecue place.
Yeah.
That's where I got the pulled pork and tater tots.
Yeah.
That was really good. It was amazing.
no complaints there.
Yeah.
But everything was expensive. Hamburgers, hot dogs, fried dough, and French fries are cheap food. So you can have that cheap, you can give people something a little bit less expensive.
Well, that's the other thing too, is I think that used to be the booth that used to do that was the church there on Route 5 that's next to Russo's. And I don't think that church exists anymore.
Well, there's other communities that do.
I know, I'm just saying, but I think that's
they could have had the Boy Scouts do it. They could.
The Boy Scouts were there. They had a booth. They had a thing in the middle of the parking lot.
Here's my idea. You have the
Boy Scouts. You should do, Brian. So you should volunteer and get on and suggest these brilliant ideas you have.
Have the Boy Scouts. It's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Hamburgers, and go to Costco, buy a buttload of hamburgers, hot dogs, and rolls.
Yeah.
Sell them for a couple bucks.
Yeah.
And that's a fundraiser for you. You make a profit. That money goes towards whatever the Boy Scouts needs.
Yeah. Well, then whatever money goes back to the town celebration committee for whatever.
I don't know. That's above my pay.
I mean, not for nothing either, but I mean,
I don't go on Facebook, nor do I care what people say on Facebook. So
the music could be a tad more current.
I think the music is getting a little stale. They just get the same bands over and over again.
Well, it's
my opinion.
This will be a hot topic. This will be a hot topic opinion that I'm going to throw out here. Or hot button topic I'll throw out. It's a very boomer centric music.
Oh, yeah.
Plays at the if you look around the time I was there, for the 4 hours I was there, you look around at the audience that's camped out on the town green and perforated through the sponsor area, you can understand why the music choices that they make are, because it's all those people that are owning the businesses right now. You know, the owners of all the businesses and all the sponsors are all of that age group, mostly. So it's very much a draw to bring those people into the area to participate in the event.
And I'm sure they're very cheap compared to bigger acts.
Compared to acts that would,
Winger, I'm sure it's much cheaper compared to a bigger band.
Yeah, the Michael Allman Band.
Yeah. Remember back in the day, we saw Foghat play. Awesome.
Yeah, Blue Oyster Cult.
We saw Blue Oyster Cult. We saw that Beatles tribute band.
The Fab Four. They were amazing.
Amazing. One year
what's his face was there? Eddie Money.
Eddie Money. They had a Led Zeppelin tribute band, which was amazing. I think the last couple of years have been very stale when it comes to the music. It's very, hey, let's get the same band. Like, no, you need to have that one big draw.
Well, it also depends upon who's in charge of that area, what their music tastes are, or what they think will be a popular genre to.
Well, I also say what it fits in their budget.
Yeah,
I feel like these are budget bands because they need to start bringing in the money because of COVID. I'm sure took a big hit. So I don't fault them on that, but I hope in the future they can go back to that well of bigger bands.
Yeah. That depends on who's available at the time too, like who's out actually performing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have an agent or whoever that they work with, and it's whatever they have available for that time frame.
Growing up, they brought some really
who's roaming around playing at that time frame. They brought
some really cool bands to the area, and I have to say in the last couple of years it's been lacking. That's all.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not on Facebook, so no one could tell me I'm wrong for my opinion. So
yeah.
I'm on Facebook, but I don't care about it. So it's not real life.
It's very interesting to follow along with certain
Enfield groups.
Comment threads. Yeah. Comment threads on certain things. I see people's reaction to people making suggestions on things, and it's taking them as instead of them as a suggestion as a slight towards
they take it
their homeland or something.
They take it on Sundays. I go on there to post the events we're doing, and I on one of the Enfield groups I did see it. I did comment in my opinion, and this one guy who seems to be a keyboard warrior seems to be messaging on everybody, and he of course retorted to my post, but I never wrote back because I don't care. And he, in my opinion, he's allowed to have his opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't care beyond that day. We have this podcast to talk about it. But anyway, I think they do a great job. I think the volunteers are hardworking. I volunteered there before. I know how much work it goes into it, but I would like to see it get better again. I think it's kind of going downhill.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. That's all. You know, it's tough. It's tough. It's a tough business right now. I get it. Mark, I got a few things. We got some news, and then we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes of the show.
The meat and potatoes, the hamburger, hot dogs, and fried dough of the show.
Of the fried dough, the good stuff.
The good stuff.
So
with the cinnamon sugar on it, not the pasta sauce and cheese like those weird people eat.
Oh, you gotta have the cinnamon sugar.
Yeah, not the pasta sauce and stuff. Who puts? It's like
on a hot day. I don't want
like a weird
hot
pizza. I don't want a weird pizza.
I don't want hot marinara on my.
If I want pizza, I'll have pizza. I'm not gonna. Yeah.
I did see Asteroid City.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I want to see that. It looks good.
I give it a personal rating. It's a 7 out of 10 for me. It's not Wes Anderson's best. I'm a big fan of his. I enjoy all his movies. This one is the first time where I was like, beautifully shot, some of the best work he's ever done.
Yeah.
Character-wise,
it looked very ho-humish, but I mean, it's something I'll watch when streaming. I'm not going to watch it in the theater.
I had a hard time connecting. Generally, his stories are very compelling, and I love the love stories where they're
triangles,
love triangles or what have you. This was about grief, and this was a tough one. I love the characters.
I'll make sure to definitely strap into that one then.
Yeah, it's not his best. I would say watch it at home.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a big fan. I love all his movies, so this was the first one I was kind of expectations were a little high, and I kind of walked out with.
Not everyone's gonna be a home run.
No, I feel like this was
sometimes a single or a double will get you there too. It's just
like I said, I give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
which is good. It's good.
Yeah.
Good. I think it's something he wanted to get out of his system, and he did. And I hope his next movie's better. That's all.
Yeah.
That's
the difference between him and other directors and writers. Is he does I don't want to say he does the movies for himself, but it's more of him expressing something as opposed to like other directors who will just direct a movie and just get it out. He actually is trying to get across something in his art.
Yeah, he's a person in his career where he can do whatever.
Yeah,
he's like Quentin Tarantino. You just do what you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then I saw that Tom Green. We already talked about that. We finished Angel. Unbelievable. Love that show. Fucking amazing.
Man,
show.
I couldn't even remember how it ended 30 years ago.
It hasn't been 30 years ago.
When did the show end? Final season of Angel.
2000 and.
When do you think it was?
2003, 2004, 2005, around that time. Early 2000s, it ended.
Angel went for 5 seasons.
Yeah, 2005.
Started in 1999.
Yeah.
And the final show was 2004.
Okay, I was a year off.
So it'd be 20 years ago next year.
So? Still
not
holds
much
up.
Different than 30 years ago.
Still holds up. Fantastic show. I miss it already. I wish I had more Angel.
110 episodes.
I'm gonna start reading the comics, just like I'm reading the Buffy
Oh,
book.
well, here you go. I mean, that's the selling point right there.
Dude, I love that. I love the characters. I love that show.
Wow.
What? I could still like something that's old. Who cares?
I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying you can't.
You just watched a show based on a comedian in the 50s. So what does it matter?
60s.
Whatever.
Yes.
Whatever.
But it's actually shot now. It's different.
Oh, I thought it was a documentary they filmed back in the 50s.
Shut up. Tell us more about Angel, and it's great. It's a great show.
It was. It's fantastic.
Classic television.
It is.
Soon to be put into the TV Land Hall of Fame.
In my opinion, it is. It is in my Hall of Fame. It goes in my Hall of Fame. I have a Hall of Fame, you know. I have a Hall of Fame.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
You probably do too.
Of shows?
Yeah.
Yeah. A-Team, Hogan's Heroes, MASH, just to name a few.
None of those would be in mine.
MASH wouldn't be in your Hall of Fame?
I never was. We talked about this. I don't care. MASH never.
A-Team?
A-Team was fun as a kid.
Yeah.
But I don't remember much. So I can't do that. I don't remember.
A-Team and Hogan's Heroes are the only shows I actually own all of the whole seasons on DVD, and Scrubs. Those are the three that I actually.
Well,
at one point, like when the NBC store was closing online, at one point when they were like closing down the individual stores, and they used to actually have like stores when all the different networks, I thought it would be a cool idea to have their own like populated stores at different places.
Well, they do at Rockefeller Center. They have an NBC.
Yeah, but I mean, they were like trying to branch out at one point and like actually had like stores out in malls and things. And they, for some reason, they were like having a huge sale, and I ended up getting the whole series of A-Team.
Well, you can
like the box is like the van and everything.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So finished Angel, Asteroid City. Last week, Allison started watching on her own because I was going to bed. I was so tired. She started watching Yellowstone. So she's like, "Hey, you might like it." So we started watching Yellowstone. It is middle of the road.
I'm only laughing not because you're watching Yellowstone, but because I know it's on Paramount Plus. And Claire just had a long discussion about Paramount Plus because we just got the thing that they're raising their rate from $9.99 to $11.99 a month.
We don't have Paramount Plus.
No, I know, but it just made me laugh because we just had like a long discussion about it. We're like, Paramount Plus, is it worth it? No. And we actually went on Paramount Plus and we're like going through the app on our TV, and I like turned to her, I'm like, no, it's not.
Paramount Plus.
So we canceled it like right there. So
yeah. And there's a lot of talk that it might not last. So
no, I'm not surprised because there really isn't anything on it.
No. But Yellowstone is on Peacock.
Yes.
Which we do have. Which is
the prequel show for Yellowstone is on Paramount Plus
with Harrison Ford, which looks
Harrison Ford, which I kind of want to watch, but then I don't want to get into it because in case they ever do anything else, I don't want to have to re-get Paramount Plus again.
Right. So anyway, she started watching that. She's like, Brian, you might like it. It's sort of like a Succession and The Sopranos and Hell on Wheels had a baby. Kind of in that. So we started watching it.
That's quite a bastard baby. Jeez.
It kind of is. It's a little.
Those three.
It's fun. I recommend.
Matt Ryan loves it.
If you want to watch a show with Claire, it's a fun show to watch with someone because sometimes it's a little over the top and you can laugh at it because it's funny.
Well, it's like a Dallas Dynasty-esque kind of thing.
We're having fun watching it.
Yeah.
It takes itself seriously, but sometimes it's a little over the top drama wise, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's not like the worst thing. It's not like my expectations going in. I was thinking Succession level,
Yeah.
It's not. It's a
No.
little. It's below that, but
Yeah.
it's still good. It's still
Yeah.
good. So if you want something to watch with Claire, I recommend it.
Well, right now we're full on into Bear season 2.
The Bear. Yeah, I gotta watch that.
So
Yeah,
you definitely got to get into it.
I know. That's on my
You
list.
you both would enjoy it. You and Alice would both enjoy it.
Yeah, I want to get into the Bear. We're almost done with baskets, and I think
Yeah.
that'll be my next
Yeah.
show.
Claire loves it, and I think you would like it for the same reason of the working in the food industry
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of it. I know, like I just enjoy it because it's like really well acted and it's funny and
It's like the top.
reminds me a lot of Rescue Me,
Oh,
like that kind of vibe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Season 2, it's like almost perfect on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's like
Yeah.
perfect 100
Yeah. We're only
score.
like 2 or 3 episodes in, and it's like amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's on my list. And then What We Do in the Shadows comes back this
Yes.
week.
Yes.
We might wait it out a little bit and then start watching it because it's a
That's what I
weekly.
usually do. Yeah, because they're
Yeah,
quick. You don't want to. Yeah.
yeah. But very excited for What We Do in the Shadows to come back.
Yeah.
Um and obviously we talked the actor strike's going to be happening potentially tomorrow. This is going to be very
Potentially.
big.
Yes. The end of tomorrow midnight, we could have a. It could make. Now I thought about this and I was tempted to reach out to our network of friends and ask this question because one of our people we know runs a big show at the Mohegan Sun at the end of this month, and
Oh,
he
Mitch.
has yes, yeah, and he has a lot of actors coming
Mm,
to do the show.
they might drop out.
I was curious about that. If that's like, if they're, if that would be, I think only if they're going to, if they're being sent as a promotional thing for a show.
Yeah, but that means the show is already done and coming out.
What's I'm talking about? Yeah. So I don't know if like if there's a difference there. If it's like if they're going on their own separately.
I think if they already have a contract to be there, they want to make
Yeah.
money. So because
Yeah. That's what I was curious about. So that's the
yeah,
stuff that was a question I had. Like, how does that work?
because they want to make
Would
money.
that affect
And
things? Because I know a lot of like the big uh talking point about this happening. The first big talking point is the fact that uh this could drastically change San Diego Comic-Con
well, there's a
from.
we already discussed this. Everybody dropped out.
Well, I know, but even the ones that hadn't dropped out yet, like there's still some uh places like Paramount and different studios that had not dropped out yet, hoping that they would solve this and get it ready to and get it straightened out.
If they
And
want to
now
take
with
take
this
the time,
possibly happening, it
yeah,
could mean there's gonna be nothing going on in San Diego Comic Con
other than comics in
other than
local news.
comics, which would
Yeah,
be the first time since probably the 80s or something like that that's happened. So
yeah.
it
But
could be a very interesting situation.
a lot of them dropped out already, so we know that.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't
Like I
know.
know, like the Disney's just doing D23, and they're not even gonna have actors there. They're just gonna announce stuff, and
That's all.
there's like they did pre-recorded things and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I heard. So we'll see. It'll be very interesting to see
yeah.
how it all shakes out.
Um,
Because I know like the big news that came out over the weekend, or not big news, but a little thing that came out over the weekend is they had the world premiere of Barbie at over the weekend, and the I think uh one of the either the writer of the movie who was like a big part of the production no showed because of the writer's strike, and it was like very like widely covered, like, oh, he wasn't at the premiere of the movie. It's like, well, yeah, because he's on strike, so why would he go? So
I don't hear anything. The writer is what's her name who directed it.
yeah, she didn't. I don't
She
think she went
was
to the
there.
movie.
She was there. She was at the.
Well, there was something that I saw that said that the writer of the someone wasn't there because of the writer's strike.
Gretchen Gerwig was at the premiere. Noah Bob Mack. Maybe that was him. I don't know.
Yeah, Barbie co-writer Noah Baumbach.
Yeah.
Skipped the world premiere.
But
he was the co-writer of the movie with Greta Gerwig. But since she's under the director's side of things, she still went. Yeah.
Well, also, what hurts these movies is there is no late night. There is nothing to promote these movies on television anymore right now. All the late night shows are gone. So it's like you don't have those viral moments on YouTube to help promote the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they still do other podcasting, they do stuff like that, but they're not doing any of the late night stuff.
Well, the crazy thing is it's been the boon of YouTube shows.
Like YouTube shows have always been there.
No, but I'm saying they've gotten more A-listers on their stuff because they're not able to do, like you were saying, like Jimmy Fallon and Colbert and that kind of thing. So
my opinion, I liked YouTube when all the late night shows weren't really on it.
Yeah.
I love YouTube even more when the late night shows aren't just flooding the market.
Yeah.
Because YouTube, and then even podcasting was like for everybody. Then celebrities got involved, and that's where everybody listens. Like, it's like YouTube was for the people, the common person, to do stuff. And then like the late night shows, networks took it over and be like, we're going to have all our clips.
All our videos are viral.
Yeah.
Look at all the videos we just did. Every snippet from the show that happened.
In my opinion, it's nice not to have that stuff flooding YouTube.
Yeah.
I still watch it, but at the same time, part of me is just like, it's kind of nice.
I mean, I also like this. It's a weird thing. This is like a weird thought to have. It's like I don't miss any of it.
I don't miss it at all.
I don't think there's anything that I was like the shows aren't as interesting as they used to be. Like even when Jimmy Fallon, we've had this conversation before. When Jimmy Fallon was on late night, I feel like the show was way better than it is on the Tonight Show.
Conan O'Brien, David Letterman.
Yeah,
my two favorites. And Conan he was smart and he went with podcasting, and I think his podcast he delivers. He is funny no matter what.
Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend is hilarious.
And Letterman, I love the fact he has a YouTube channel, but he just sits there with his old producer. They talk about stories. They put old clips up. And Letterman he made late night dangerous. I mean, he did stuff nobody was doing. And then
even just his Netflix show was amazing.
Yeah.
I know you don't watch it, but I mean, it's amazing.
But I've seen the Conan O'Brien go across America. I've seen all that stuff.
Well, the David Letterman sit down interviews that he does on Netflix.
Oh yeah. I've seen those before I canceled. But I kind of feel like late night is just kind of stale because it's all politics. And it's games, and the monologues are generally the best part, but they're not doing Kimmel still does man on the street stuff, but everybody's playing it safe. I don't know. I miss the Conan and the Lettermans of late night. That's all.
Well, I mean, it's a sad state of affairs that I've said it in our work stuff here and there, and other people that I know that work in television. It's probably about 10 to 15 years left, and then it'll probably be gone. So enjoy it while it lasts.
I mean, I don't know.
Cable TV as we know it will probably be gone within the next 10 to 15 years.
You know what, I think cable TV will always exist, but I don't think it's not as relevant anymore.
I think it'll just fade away.
corporations own it, so I don't think it's going to go away
Yeah,
with a fight.
but they could easily just. I mean,
You have Cox, you have Comcast, you have Time Warner. These are big companies with big pockets, especially Comcast. So I think cable will always be there. It's just going to go up higher and higher in price,
I think
and, and people will
as
drop
the
it.
generation that owns cable ages out,
Oh yeah.
I think
Well,
that's when we're gonna have that
the kids
totally gone.
the kids growing up now,
Yeah,
when they get older,
yeah.
they're not going to be getting cable because they're going to be
No,
like, why?
yeah.
I don't, I
Never
get
had
that.
it. Why would I get it?
I totally agree with that statement.
Yeah.
I agree that the kids that are going into their lives now
Yes.
never
As the rest of our parents' generation passes on,
yeah.
they will probably be the last generation that have cable.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Our generation will have it like in small doses here and there, but then after that, it'll gradually
Yeah. I
disappear.
mean,
If not by then, the corporations will just be like, this isn't feasible to keep doing this.
I think corporations will still be corporating and doing what.
Well, I know, but I was saying it's like as like antenna TV went the way of the dodo bird,
Yeah.
so will cable TV at one point.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they'll figure out something, but it won't be it's not as popular as it once was. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, subscribers to cable have gone down. There's no doubt there.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a dying industry.
Yes.
Dying industry. I agree.
Yes. Yeah.
But
like I
Mark,
jokingly say, I'm playing the violin on the Titanic every day.
yeah, pretty much. So
We've hit the iceberg. We're taking on water, but I'm playing the violin until we go down.
Yeah. I know we're running out of time, so I think we should do Indiana Jones before we take off.
Real quick though, Secret Invasion. Last two episodes, really good. It's getting better, and it's completely different than any other Marvel show. And I think the people who are comparing it to other Marvel stuff do not get it. But that's just my 2 bits on it, and we can move on.
Yeah, the last 2 episodes were really good.
Yeah.
I have no complaints. It's probably one of the better MCU shows I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
There's no buzz about it. Nobody's really talking about it.
I just don't think people get it.
I think it's a lot of things. I think people are burnt out. I think people don't care. I think they flooded the market too much, and this is what happens when you flood the market too much.
Well, so, it's also, I don't think it's not flashy characters. It's not like, if it was,
you know what I think,
the real Secret Invasion from the comic books, and it was done in a movie form, and this was not now, and it was in the middle of the Avengers storylines, when you had all the big Avengers still around, like Captain America, Tony Stark, all that stuff. I think this would be a whole different thing, and it would have been huge, and it would have been amazing if they did it like the comic book story. I think doing it more of a low down, like man on the ground kind of show, like
I like it.
Jason Bourne kind of, like hard hitting, espionageal kind of thriller, making it more of like who's like more of a, is that person not what you think it is kind of thing. And it's a deeper storytelling than I think people are used to. And I think it's just not, and having just Samuel L. Jackson and Don Cheadle, who are both amazing actors, but I don't think they're like selling points that people are gonna like jump to watch.
I say Secret Invasion, in my opinion, is this year's Andor, because Star Wars got flooded. Obi-Wan, I know we have a different opinion. I thought Obi-Wan was a really ho-hum series. I didn't care for it. And I think people were so burnt out of mediocre Star Wars stuff that Andor comes along and it's really good. I haven't watched it, but I've heard nothing but good things. Nobody watches it. So I think MCU shows, have become a little ho-hum, flooded the market.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion comes out and it's really good. Nobody's talking about it because people are burnt out on mediocre MCU shows.
Yeah.
And Disney has had a lot of problems, a lot of L's this year. I mean, Ant-Man was a flop. The Elementals was a flop. Indiana Jones was a flop.
Elemental has actually rebounded this week and is actually like completely reversed, but
still a flop.
Is now heading towards not being one. When I read this morning.
Then Secret Invasion had one of the lowest turnouts for viewers for an MCU show. So I feel like it's tough because when you have a string of mediocrity and something really great, people might have already been like lost interest. So this is what happens when you flood the market with mediocre things, I think. But anyway, we don't know. Maybe a Secret Invasion will, I don't know if viewership will get more and more as the weeks go along. Usually that's what happens. But I'm enjoying the show. I like it a lot. It's I'm invested. So we'll see. We'll talk more next week. Next week we'll do our midterm, mid-year.
I know we've talked about it multiple times, but blame Bryan. He's not prepared.
No, the show is going too long.
That's his excuse of him saying, I didn't prepare. I'm excited for the rest of this year.
I prepared the list, but I don't have that. But this show's already going too long. It is.
Yeah.
It is going too long.
Yes.
We got to talk about Indiana Jones still.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
Dial D for Destiny.
I
took Claire on when did we go see it? Friday?
Friday?
Yeah, we did a date night Friday. Went to the Enfield cinemas to see it. We were one of probably 10 people in the whole theater at 3:00 in the afternoon to see it. Because Claire went right after she got out of work. She gets out of work early on Fridays. So we went because I told her it was a 2.5 hour long movie. So she's like, I need to see this early in the day. Because if we go any later, I'm going to fall asleep. I was like, gotcha. So we did it. She enjoyed it. She was like, wow, I've forgotten how, much I enjoyed Indiana Jones. I enjoyed, like we talked about a little bit before over the weekend, the first 20 minutes of the movie, like took me right back to old Indiana Jones movies. And it was amazing. It took me a second to kind of brush off the fact that they didn't adjust his voice at all. So he still had a 70-year-old man's voice.
80.
Coming out of a...
He's going to be 81 or 82 this week.
Okay. Or an 80-year-old man's voice coming out of like a 40-year-old looking man's face.
Yeah.
Like they could have spent extra money on that instead of, some other things. But it was very much an Indiana Jones movie. I liked it. I took it for what it was worth. I took it for what it was, an Indiana Jones movie.
Yes.
It's not, fantastic cinema. It's not Citizen Kane. It's not,
no.
It hits all the things. It does all the stuff that Indiana Jones movies do. It's the movie that basically built the template for all the movies that have come since on what this genre is of like the adventure movie. It had the plane transition scene, traveling across the world. It had the chase scenes. It had the funny jokes interspersed in between things. But then also had some heart to it. You saw Indiana Jones as an old guy, and he's, not wanting to recapture his old self, kind of forced into doing it. But you can see it's there, but it's not like he's an old guy and he wants to and life's beating him up. He has lost his wife. Unfortunately, his son to war. And he's just kind of dealing with life, and he gets pulled back into it by his goddaughter. And Indiana Jones' adventure ensues from there.
Mm, mm.
You get all the little hits of all the former people and stuff that pop up. You have
Yep.
the Nazis back, which is the perfect foil for these movies. The ending, not a fan of the weird open-ended ending that they did.
What do you mean? Well, let's put a pin in this. So I got to give you my.
Yeah,
That's your initial
yeah,
reaction.
yeah. That's my like first
All right.
off the bat reactions.
All right. Let me give you mine, and let's
Yeah.
discuss those things.
Okay.
I went in expectations so low.
Yes.
Allison and me, we watched all four movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Temple of Doom being my favorite Indiana Jones movie of all
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Um, then the second would be the
Raiders.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Last Crusade would be third.
Yeah.
Allison had never seen Crystal Skull. I've only seen Crystal Skull one time in the theater. We
Yeah.
watched it. We both.
Wish
It's
you'd
funny.
forgotten it instantly.
Yeah, with Dial of Destiny, you can now skip Crystal Skull completely,
Yes.
and it
Oh
goes
yeah.
in the fan fiction part of
Yes.
my movie going experience. I put it in the fan
Correct.
fiction bin,
Yes.
because you actually get information that you would otherwise get in that movie. You don't need it.
Yeah.
Gone. Crystal Skull's gone. But anyway, we watched it, and it was funny because Allison and me both were like, okay, this is where the movie jumps to shark. In Crystal Skull, there's this long chase scene in jeeps, and there's monkeys, and there's fencing, and it's horrible. Other than that, it's a good movie, but it's just really not. There's just crazy moments that make no sense. So anyway, my expectations going into this were like, okay, I gotta temper them because it's not getting good. The reviews aren't that great, and I'm just gonna go in, just go in, clear mind, and enjoy it for what it is. That first 20 minutes, man, they could have rolled credits right after that, and I would have been satisfied.
Oh yeah. If they'd
Really,
just done that movie, I'd have been all about it.
you know what I was thinking? I'm like, man, they could have just done these little short vignettes on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Oh my god, perfect.
Yeah.
Um, really enjoyed that. Then the
Mm.
movie kicks off. Yes, it was kind of crazy because I just saw him so young, like a week ago, and then middle
Mm.
aged, and then all of a sudden he's 80 years old.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford he's still got it. I think overall it was a fun adventure. For me, the ending, I really love seeing Marion come back.
Yeah.
And I
will say that like the fake ending, like when they're
What are you talking about? Fake ending? I don't understand.
well, not the ending how it happened, but like what I thought was going to be the ending where they're go back in time.
What he was like, I want to stay here.
Yeah, and he wants to stay here. I was like, oh no, we're gonna lose Indiana Jones. Like they're gonna kill him, basically.
I kind of thought that.
I was like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. I'm like, literally in the theater, Claire's like talking me down because I'm like, don't kill Indiana Jones. I can't have that happen. Don't do it. And she's like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. She's like, you're gonna be okay. I'm like, just don't. I can't have this happen. I can't. This movie can't end this way. Like after Guardians and other things, I'm like, can you stop this year of killing off all my things?
They didn't kill anybody off.
I know, but like endings, I don't like. I could go for not an ending.
Yeah, but it was a happy ending.
But then they end up doing that ending, and then the scene at the very end where he pulls his hat off the thing, and I'm like, oh god, now they're like gonna tease me with a possibility of this going on or something.
No, Harrison Ford said this is it.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it's like
I hate to break to you. If they've ever made another one, they're gonna have to resurrect his body.
They're gonna have to wheel him around in a wheelchair or something.
But Harrison Ford said this is it for him.
No, it's got to be. But I'm just saying it's like they could have like retired him as opposed to the way they ended it, where she just leaves. Like it basically, there was no real ending to the movie. It just like world just keeps going on kind of thing.
Well, that's
like they don't like hand off there was no handoff to a new.
You can't
person.
hand it off. You can't hand.
No, but I'm saying, but you know what I mean. Like if they had done it where they, his goddaughter then starts coming, like he talks her into doing
I didn't
something or
really.
something.
Her character was annoying. I didn't
Yeah,
really.
it was a very weird. There was like it was a very weird
I thought it was perfect
thing.
because you have them back together. They do a callback from the movie they were in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah,
Their marriage fell apart. There's a call. They're coming back together, and I think it was a great ending. I don't
yeah,
want. No one will ever take over Indiana Jones. Nobody. Sorry, it won't
yeah,
happen. And if it does happen, I ain't watching that shit. It ain't never gonna happen.
mm,
And I think the audience, because nobody came out for this movie, proves that nobody cares anymore about Indiana Jones. So, other than the diehards, that's it.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so, in my personal opinion, Crystal Skull in this movie should have never happened. I think those
yeah,
first three are perfect.
yeah.
Last
Leave it where they
Crusade,
were and just
Last
yeah,
Crusade, them riding off into the sunset,
yeah. Perfect ending.
chef's
Yeah,
kiss.
yeah,
But I consider this movie a nice prologue. I
yes,
consider this a nice cap. If
yes,
we got it, that's reality.
yeah,
Corporations need to keep making and squeeze that water out of this every
yeah,
stone. So here we are. I think it's a better ending than Crystal Skull. I think it's a good capper to the whole
yeah.
series. Um,
Agreed.
and you know what? It had its flaws. My biggest flaws of this movie is a little too long. Could have been a little bit shorter. I did not like that one chase scene when they were on the bike thing, and then
That's
the girl, her fiance, started chasing them. I kind of
yeah,
felt it was a little too convoluted, and I'm like,
yeah,
really, we need this too?
yeah.
Um,
A lot of thrown in, a lot of too many stories going on at once, kind of thing.
yeah, Helena, her fiance that she was stealing money from, he was
Yeah,
chasing them
yeah,
amongst everybody else chasing them.
yeah,
It felt a little too much. I was like, well, Indiana Jones, what made them so good? It was it was simple, and it was just like a simple ABC story. And I kind of felt like this one, they were like, we got to throw in a little extra.
well, no,
Um,
like the thing of them, her like having a kid sidekick, very much like he had a kid's sidekick in the first movie. It was
well,
kind
no,
of a
round was in Temple of Doom.
yeah, but I'm saying he had a like trying to use that same thing of her
Yeah,
having a kid
yeah. She had
sidekick that
um
she like somewhat adopted.
yeah.
It was very strange.
He was forgettable. He was okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, obviously they needed him because at the end
He was the
he
MacGuffin. Yeah,
he had to get them out
yeah,
of that time period because it was
yeah,
closing up.
yeah.
Um,
And their plane had crashed.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
only my the only thing that I thought that was weird was Dr. Voller, played by Mads Nicholson, who
yeah.
was a great villain.
Yes.
Okay, in the first 20 minutes, he gets nailed. Nailed.
Blast in the face by a
Yes.
huge pipe on a
Okay.
train that's moving
Yes.
very fast.
Yes. Yes. Either he is
And he just
obliterated.
magically is like fine. No marks on his face. Like when they had that scene where he walks up, I'm waiting
Yes.
for him to turn around and have like a huge
Yes.
mark or something on his
Scar.
face or some kind of deformity.
Yes.
Nothing.
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 And he looked younger than Harrison Ford. And
I was
Harrison
like, did he
Ford,
like put his arms up or something to block the pipe?
I thought they were gonna say he already went back in time, or he's from the
Or he
future.
had something else or some kind of thing that made him look
He looked
like he was
younger than
yeah,
Jones, but they were
yeah,
literally almost the same age when they first
yeah.
met
He
back
had to be
in.
of almost 80.
Yeah.
So he had
He had
no
no
like prosthetics on to
markings.
make him look older.
They missed the mark. He could have
Yeah,
been a better villain if he had a
yeah,
prosthetic face, or he had a
yeah,
limp, or he had a
yeah,
cane. He had
yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
I thought that was a weird
It
choice,
was a weird choice. It was a very weird choice.
and it bugged me.
Yeah.
It bugged me. I'm not gonna
And the
lie.
other thing that like I thought was strange about it, and it was like a weird thing that was strange about it. It's like, why the CIA character? Why have that girl in the movie
She was
just to
pointless.
kill her off for no reason?
Pointless. Yeah.
Like she had no reason to be in that movie whatsoever.
No. I kind of feel it's a little overstuffed. That's
And
my
the
biggest
weird
complaint.
CIA guy who had a limp, no one, like, no reasoning behind that. Like, what was his deal? And like, why was that huge guy and the other guy, the blonde haired guy who's an American, why is he teaming up with the Nazi?
But they were all
Like, there was
Nazis.
never an explanation about that. Like, how they, like, why are they still involved with him if he was like his own security detail besides the CIA? Like, that made no sense. There's a lot of weird things, and like they tried to like do the thing where the reason why we got to space was because like tried to do the commentary thing on it, like, oh, we use Nazis to get to space and that whole thing, and it was like, oh, it's
Well,
very,
nobody knew
very
he was a
strange.
Nazi except for Jones.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure they knew. That's why I had him held off to the side because he was a CIA guy.
Yeah,
He was a
but
German.
when they found out he was a Nazi, because you remember he had a fake last name, and
Oh
then
yeah, Schultz, whatever.
then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But it was just very. It wasn't very well explained.
no,
Is what it was. It wasn't
but
like there's a lot of just substance. Like, you should just know this. Like, you should just figure it out. We
yeah.
need relief. But no, you need to tell me these things. It'd be nice if
Also,
we had more explanation. Like, how did he survive getting thrown off a train and getting blasted with a huge pipe and
he should have
nothing
been
being
dead.
wrong with him?
Yes,
Yeah,
I know. He should have been like
he had
something should have
perfect, like, the best plastic surgeon in the history of the World War II.
right.
Like, I thought he was
Totally.
captured. And the other thing was, they do the scene where the train crashes, and then they're on the ground at the bottom of the bridge, and up above them, the British have captured the train. So was he captured by the British, the German guy? And then, like, how did he get to America? How did that happen? Like, how did this all? It's like a lot of stuff just was just like, you should just don't ask
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And it was like, that makes no sense. But yeah, if he had like like Emperor Palpatine kind of look to him, where he was all old and in his 80s looking and had the cane and was all like, you know, the evil villain type looking guy, it would made it so much more, you
And
know.
this is the first, no, the second Indiana Jones movie where they focus more on the villain. The first
Yeah,
three movies, the villains were there, but you never
just
really
kind of like the Nazis were just the villains. It was just
you
they were there.
you never really
Yeah,
stuck with them to figure them out. Where
yeah,
Crystal Skull in this one, you actually had time with these people,
yeah,
and this movie was so long, they could have cut out other things and gave us an explanation
yeah.
of why he was perfect. Like
Well,
from all,
also, like, the thing too is they never really gave like their thing was the his goddaughter, who they, like, the very beginning where they first meet up and he's talking to her and stuff like that. She's talking about, you know, her dad and the Dial of Destiny and all that stuff.
yeah, I like
The
that stuff. That's fine.
It's fine, but the transition of that to she's just a smuggler who's selling off things, it was like that. Like, wait, why would, if you're so much wanting your dad to get the
Mm.
respect that he deserves, why would you be selling off the thing?
Her motives weren't the best.
It was very convoluted. It
Yeah,
made no sense.
it made no sense.
Yeah,
She was like, it was like, yeah, she's just like, oh, I could sell this. And
yeah,
Harrison Ford, I mean, Indiana Jones, like, it belongs in a museum.
yeah,
And yeah, she wanted her dad to have all this
yeah.
respect, but herself,
She just wanted to sell stuff.
she was not respectful
Yeah,
at
it
all.
wasn't. It was just very, yeah,
She was a crook.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it, her character got better by the end of the movie, but in the
yeah,
beginning,
yeah,
also, if your dad and Indiana Jones were best friends
yeah,
and he passed away and you're visiting Indiana Jones to get him to help you,
yeah,
what you don't do is lock him behind a cage with the
yeah,
bad guy and take off.
yeah.
That made no sense to me.
Well,
He
I
literally
mean,
locks him in there and
you're not going to run away with an 80-year-old man.
he gets framed for murder.
Yeah, which
And
they
she
still never, they never actually solved that story. Never resolved that story whatsoever.
no.
So at the end of the movie, Indiana Jones still wanted for murder for two people. Indiana Jones now a murderer. Everybody
Yeah, I
enjoy.
know. I
Thanks
don't
for
know.
coming.
I just didn't like that she locked him in there with those
Well, I
people.
mean, you weren't going to have that scene afterwards of him running across rooftops. I mean, that's not going to happen.
You
It'd be a
know,
longer movie. It'd be a 4-hour movie at that point because you'd
I
have to Harrison Ford moving across the rooftops.
I understand, but it made me not like her character. It's
Yeah,
like
no, her
that's such a
character had no redeeming qualities whatsoever.
yeah until the end. I thought
Even
she was
then, it wasn't that great.
no. I for me she was better at the end, but
Yeah,
her motives were never that clear, and
no,
I got mixed signals the whole
yeah,
time. Yeah,
no, exactly. Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like I said, the movie has its flaws.
yeah.
It's not perfect.
No, no, most movies
But
are not.
but I would say it was better than Crystal Skull. It is my fourth favorite. If I do Indiana Jones rewatch, I will
Yeah.
probably watch this one
Well, there's
again.
the other thing too. I wonder if this movie is suffering the effects. I mean, first off, suffering the effects of all the like we've been talking about with the Disney stuff and everything. But I wonder if it's also suffering the effects of Crystal Skull, of people like being like, "Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you," kind of thing. Like I could just wait until it's on Disney Plus
You have
and
to
then
watch it.
see if then try it out and see if I like it, and not feel bad about wasting
I think
$20 to go see it.
I think there's a lot of things against Indiana Jones. A,
Yeah,
maybe people like myself in the beginning did not want to see your 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 childhood
childhood.
hero as an 80-year-old man. I also think Crystal Skull put a lot of bad taste in their mouths.
Yeah.
And I also think that it was a very bad idea of having these like cans
Yes.
because it killed the hype. I
Yeah.
think they should have had the reviews come out the week of the movie and
Yeah.
people would have saw it because the audience score actually is much higher than the critic score.
Which always would have been.
And this movie, Crystal Skull made more money opening weekend than this one. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of factors against it. I think
Well, because I think that Crystal Skull had the member berries going in. They're everyone being like, "Oh man, Indiana Jones is back."
but then you're just
But
disappointed.
now
It
you've seen
wasn't
Crystal
good.
Skull, and now everyone's like, "Oh, and they're doing another Indiana Jones movie."
Yeah, pretty much. Also,
But
I
then
think
you go
people
see it, and then you're like, "Oh man, it really is a decent Indiana Jones movie."
because your expectations are low.
Yeah.
I think my expectations were low, so I
Yeah.
really liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also feel like our generation, our parents' generation, and older people want to see him.
Yeah.
People under don't even know who he is and
No,
don't
exactly.
care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big generation thing too. I think it's a lot of
Yeah.
things. And I think if the movie had come out at Cannes like it did, but the reviews were really glowing,
Yeah.
the turnout could have been
Yeah.
better.
Kansas is not the place for superhero type action movies, unless it's Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible.
I mean, I don't think it was a good idea to have it at Cannes, personally.
Yeah.
I don't think it helped. I don't think it helped. The reviews were really not that great coming out of that.
Yeah.
But tempered expectations. You go in, you just want to see a popcorn flick. You just want to see some action. You know,
I mean,
enjoy it. Just go enjoy it.
next up is Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer.
That's what I'm calling next week.
I'm looking forward to both. I'm seeing Oppenheimer and Barbie. I want to see both.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling next week. The week of Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, but anyway, Mark. So
let's rate this thing, Brian. What do you give Indiana Jones, Dal D for Destiny?
For me, it's a 7 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
It's just good.
Just average.
Just good. Yeah, I had a great time. I'll be honest. I saw it on Saturday, and now we're on Tuesday.
Forgot most of it.
Forgot most of it, other than the first.
That's
20
you,
minutes.
anyways. That doesn't really matter. You forget most of it.
No.
Anyways,
if it was
even
a
if it
real
was
good movie,
a spectacular movie, you'd still forget about it.
If it was a real good movie, it would sit with me. But the first 20 minutes and the ending,
some ginkgo biloba is what you need.
Are the parts that have sat with me.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. So
yeah,
I was entertained for the 2.5 hours I was there.
Yeah.
So 7 out of 10. That's just good. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take it up one. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It wasn't the best movie I've seen this year, but it wasn't the worst.
I mean, there are movies that I've seen this year and last year that I still think about
Yeah.
that will stick with me for a very long time because they were just impactful emotionally, or they had some amazing stuff in it. This movie, like I said, that first 20 minutes, cut to black. Oh my God, I would have been amazing.
Yeah.
The one thing, I
or
also
if they'd stretch that story out throughout the film.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that all 20 at the beginning and had like the beginning parts of it, and then like it would jump back in time to continue the story of that, and then like you'd see what's going on in the adventure that's happening in their like present time. But then like as you meet different characters, it takes you back and shows you what happened more. So then like when it gets to almost the third act, you see that final part where the other Nazi where the Mads Nicholson gets knocked off the train. And then you have the reveal of him being the guy. Like you don't see him. Like I think if they did that where you don't see him until the third act in the present story that they're doing.
And it had to look a little bit mangled.
Yeah.
Could not
and you
look
kept
the
it
way
with just the two henchmen, him versus the two henchmen chasing him around, as opposed to Mads character chasing him around.
Yeah.
You could have. Yeah.
The other thing, it was interesting too. It was the same formula as Crystal Skull, where Crystal Skull, they are going towards an object and the bad guys are following. This is literally the same thing.
Yes.
They're going towards
the National Treasure storyline,
and the bad guys are following.
Yeah.
It was basically the same outline.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go.
Yeah.
So next week, we don't got much to talk about. I mean, other than the big news that might happen tomorrow.
Yes.
Let's talk about what we're looking forward for the second half. I have to do my homework on that, but I did put my list together between January and Indiana Jones as the cutoff. And I have our best movies and shows to our least favorite movies and shows.
Gotcha.
And you have your top 5, and so we're gonna do a top 10. You have your 5 movie or shows you're looking forward to the rest of the year, and I'll have my 5.
Gotcha.
And it's okay if we have the same ones.
If we overlap, it's fine. Yes.
That's fine. It keeps the list quicker.
Yeah.
So that's our main topic next week.
Sounds good.
So we're going to record on Tuesday.
Yes.
All right. I love it.
Yeah.
And
we'll be getting ready for Barbenheimer and the Manchester Toy Show. So it'll be a busy week next week.
Yeah. We got a lot going on, baby.
A lot going on.
All right. We should wrap it up. It's been a long one, and we'll be back next week.
We will be.
All right.
As always, be safe, be well, be kind,
and rewind.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.